Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr., and on the docket for today's show, we're going to preview this Week 14 game against the Dallas Cowboys as it is Dallas Week Part 2. The Birds traveling to Texas, Arlington, AT&T Stadium to play Dallas on Sunday Night Football. Speaking of that game, we'll be live for another watch party, so make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, and you join us. Signed memorabilia that we're giving away for our Super Chat MVP, raffle items as well, and as always, the best place to experience game day outside of being at the actual game. So Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago in Week 9 at Lincoln Financial Field, able to really eke out a win against Dallas in that game that literally came down to the final play, and now the Birds look to complete the two-game regular season sweep. The over-under for this game is very high, so the odds makers expecting a lot of points to be scored in Texas on Sunday night. Kickoff is set for 8:20 p.m. Eastern, 5:20 p.m. Pacific. We'll be live for a pregame show for our watch party, and the Cowboys here are favorites in this game. They are minus 3.5, so Philadelphia getting 3.5 points, second consecutive week in which the Birds, even with the NFL's best record still, are underdogs. Cowboys' last 5 games, they lost to Philadelphia in Week 9, 28-23. Eagles had to come back from a halftime deficit. Thought that the Eagles' offense started to pick it up in that second half. Stop me if you've heard that before. And then the Cowboys had to make a little bit of a late rally. They were helped out by some officiating calls, I thought, on that final drive. There was that damn near 50-yard pass interference call on James Bradbury on the far sideline. That allowed the Cowboys to go from their goal line to about midfield. And then Jalen Carter committed that penalty. And then Dallas just backed it up in a couple of plays with some penalties and negative plays after that. And then Dak Prescott threw short of the goal line to C.D. Lamb, and Philadelphia was able to escape with that win. All the theatrics that came with it. But after the Cowboys lost that game by 5, they have now rattled off 4 consecutive wins here. And what has been really the consistent theme outside of that Seahawks game? Dallas is scoring a lot of points, not giving up a lot of points. They're winning in blowout fashion, but all of these teams are garbage. And what I crack up about is how Cowboy fans call the Eagles frauds, even though they have 10 wins, and they say, oh, you're a fraudulent football team. Those games could have gone either way against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, Josh Allen and the Bills, and then you got whooped up by San Francisco. The Dallas Cowboys going into Week 14 this year have 9 wins. Good for you. 1 win against a team with the winning record, and the team they beat with the winning record, Seattle, got dropped to 500 after losing this game to Dallas. And you look back at this game, it was a 28-23 ball game. Dak Prescott was really, really good up until that fourth quarter where he was missing some throws. That offense couldn't really catch a rhythm, committing bad penalties. The game management, once again, from Mike McCarthy was not good. But Prescott historically has played very well against Philadelphia throughout his entire career. And in that game, 29-44, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Tony Pollard and the Cowboys' rushing attack was held in check, but C.D. Lamb was not. Regardless of who matched up against C.D. outside of Darius Slay, he was able to stay on a heater. 11 catches, 191 yards. Jalen Hurts in that game was extremely efficient, 17-23, 2 touchdowns, no picks. A.J. Brown, solid game, 7 catches, 66 yards. So Philadelphia, I think the outlook of this game and the flow of this game is going to be a little bit different. I actually expect it to be a little bit more high scoring in Week 14 compared to as it was about 5 weeks ago. My keys to this game, we're going to run through all of these and then stay tuned for some major defensive adjustments and a look at some bad, abysmal Eagles defensive numbers coming up here during our preview. But key number 1 is that this Eagles defense simply has to play better. And you look at the numbers so far for this Eagles defense this year, this is an issue. And Sean Desai even said, I have to do a better job with my play calls. We have to get off the field on third downs. We have to be better at executing in the red zone. I have to put players in a position where they could succeed. They are 24th in points allowed, 29th in points allowed per drive, 28th in first downs allowed, 32nd ranked third down defense. That's last in the NFL. They're third worst in red zone defense. 26th in takeaways, so that's not good. 12th in sacks and 22nd in sack percentage. That really is unacceptable, and it's abysmal. What's also really bad is the Eagles just being so bad on third downs. They just can't get off the football field, especially in the last two games. But this is a big reason why they're ranked 32nd. But all throughout the year, whether it's Sam Howell frying them or Dak Prescott or Brock Purdy against the blitz, not against the blitz, the Eagles' defense in the last two games in particular, they have forced 33 third downs. They have allowed a first down 23 of those 33 times. And they better get it figured out against the Cowboys. Otherwise, Dallas is going to be able to light up the scoreboard. The Cowboys' offensive unit is a good one. First in points per drive, second and third down offense. We will see if Mike McCarthy will be the play caller on Sunday. He had to undergo an emergency appendectomy on Wednesday, but right now he is expected to be on the sideline for the Cowboys. And honestly, maybe that's a win for the Eagles because his game management in tight games has always been horrendous. The positive spin here, if you want to go glass half full approach, that's the way I like to live my life because I don't like to live in a negative headspace. The Eagles are 9th in the NFL at getting teams to third down. So that means that they're pretty solid on first and second down. But then they are 31st at allowing first down conversions on some of those plays. So if you want to go glass half full, if Philadelphia is able to just figure out how to be less leaky and less prone to giving up some of those third down conversions, the defensive numbers, they could turn around very quickly. But then you go to the negatives again. And going into the bye week after that Cowboys game, Philadelphia had the number 1 ranked rushing defense in the NFL. They have since slid to about halfway through the NFL as far as the rankings go. And in the last 3 games since coming out of the bye, this Eagles team has given up chunks of plays on the ground. Very uncharacteristic for what was a very good defensive line to be getting pushed around like they have been. Against the Chiefs, they gave up 5.5 yards per carry. Against Buffalo, 4.3 yards per carry. And then against San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey had himself a day. Deebo Samuel had himself a day. The Eagles were an awful tackling team. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass. It was all around just brutal. And San Francisco put up 5.2 yards per carry. So if the Eagles going up against Dak Prescott can't figure out how to make some of these adjustments, then it doesn't cause you many reasons to be confident that the Eagles can go on the road where the Cowboys have been excellent at home and pull off the upset here. Prescott this year in 12 games, completing 70% of his passes. He's thrown for more than 3,200 yards. He's run for 174. He has 28 total touchdowns. And a year after leading the league in interceptions, he has not put the ball in harm's way, only 6 turnovers this year. And in week 9 against Philadelphia, he really did anything that he wanted to. And I thought he did a great job of making plays out of structure. He had a good pocket feel, pocket mobility, where he could jet out of the pocket when the pocket broke down, when the Eagles' pass rush nearly got home. He made plays happen with his legs, which resulted in passes, but he made plays with his legs, which resulted in back-breaking runs. He was really, really good that day. 29 of 44, 374, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. More to get to on our preview, but it's Dallas week. And this is the motto every single day that I wake up and open my eyes, but especially right now, I hit the Dallas Cowboys. If you're with me, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon right now and like the video. As I said, more to get to, defensive adjustments that we'll talk about, but first, today's Eagles-Cowboys preview is sponsored by Factor. Get 50% off using the code EaglesChat50. And this holiday season, combined with me working during the NFL season, I also cover the NBA here at Chat Sports. I just get so busy, and meal prepping becomes really, really difficult. That's where Factor really saves me. If you want convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days, Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, and it can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And they offer you chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals that are delivered straight to your door. You're going to save time, you're going to eat well, and you're going to stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. If you're looking for Just awesome meals. You can skip the stress of meal prepping over the holidays and choose from 35 plus weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never frozen meals that support a healthy lifestyle and meet your meal preferences. Everything is delivered right to your door, and everything is ready in just a couple of minutes. So pick your pre-made meals. They're prepped and cooked to perfection. You heat them up and you enjoy them. They have protein-heavy options. They have vegetarian options. I know some of us here at Chat Sports have been in on their smoothies as well. Get started. Factormeals.com. Eagles Chat 50. 50% off. To some of those defensive adjustments that I want to see Sean Desai make going into this game against Dallas. And you have to make some of these defensive adjustments. I don't want to see the Eagles be as soft in coverage. They've got picked apart in some of their zone sets. The pass rush has to be better. Philadelphia got to Brock Purdy twice on the opening drive. They did not touch him again for the rest of the game. If you can't provide pressure on Dak Prescott and you can't sack him and he has all day to survey the defense, go through his progressions, and he's not worried about getting hit there in the pocket, he's going to be able to really identify the weaknesses and exploit some of the mismatches going up against that Eagles defense. The pass rush has to get better. I also think that this Eagles running defense has to really improve. We documented the numbers over the last 3 games just a couple of minutes ago. And what happens is you get worn down if teams are able to run it. They're able to extend drives. And because Philadelphia's offense has been so inconsistent, yes, this Eagles defense has been on the field a lot. But if they can't stop the run by themselves, they'll be on the field even longer. And it just allows teams to kind of take the air out of Philadelphia and keep Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, DeAndre Swift, and that Eagles offensive line on the sideline. Right now, Philadelphia offensively is looking to find momentum. And if they're on that sideline, they're not going to be able to find that momentum. I'm hoping that Shaq Leonard is going to be able to help the linebacker play. He met with the media, spoke with the media for the first time on Wednesday. He said that he was shocked that he was let go by the Indianapolis Colts. He wants to prove that he can still be one of the best players in football. When asked about why he decided to come to Philadelphia, he said, it fit my mentality, dog mentality. I imagine his relationship with Nick Sirianni really helped out him choosing Philadelphia over Dallas. Now, Philadelphia on Wednesday did release Christian Ellis, and Zach Cunningham is expected to play for Philadelphia. So the linebacking rotation should be Shaq Leonard as well as Zach Cunningham. That's a much better linebacking rotation than what the Eagles put on the field against San Francisco, and San Francisco just ripped them apart time and time again in the intermediate area of the field and across the middle of the field. Hopefully Shaq Leonard can help that linebacker play, and I want to see Sean Desai use him, especially use him to his strengths. The Eagles also have to tackle better than the Niners game. Nicholas Morrow was so bad. What, did he allow 151 yards after the catch or something like that against San Francisco? We broke down those specific numbers a little bit earlier this week. And what's crazy is that Philadelphia entered that game against the Niners as one of the best tackling teams in the NFL. But Brock Purdy threw for 314 yards. 213 of those came after the catch. If you don't tackle the Cowboys, you're going to be looking at another team putting up another 40-burger. And then, of course, Philadelphia has to get off the field on third downs. I want to see Sean Desai mix up his coverages. I want to see Sean Desai fake some blitzes, drop some guys back, send some blitzes from time to time. Brock Purdy was pretty much unconscious against this Eagles team when Sean Desai did send 5+ guys. But you got to try something, and you got to throw the kitchen sink at Dak Prescott, because if he has all day to survey the field, history shows that he's going to be able to have a lot of success. So those are the defensive adjustments that I want to see. And then going back to the keys to the game, Philadelphia's offense has to find a way to start games faster. You are playing with fire, and you are playing a dangerous brand of football if you're just consistently going down early in games and having Jalen Hurts have to pull off these heroics week in and week out. It is epic. It is special. It is exciting that the Eagles have won 5 games when trailing at halftime. No other team in the NFL has come even close. But you can't live that way, and you can't survive that way playing from behind and having to rely on comebacks, especially against some really good teams. And if you start games faster, like if you started faster against San Francisco and you didn't settle for 2 field goals as the Niners' red zone defense was able to buckle down, is the whole game a little bit different against the Niners if you get 10 points or 14 points? If you go up 10-0 or 14-0, I think the entire complexion of the game changes drastically and the momentum is on your side. Dallas Goedert is going to come back against Dallas. Pretty fitting that Dallas makes his return against Dallas after he suffered that injury against Dallas. The Eagles have really missed him in the weeks that he has been gone. And it has impacted Philadelphia's run game because he's such a good blocker, but also the Eagles' aerial attack. And when he's on the field, the Eagles' offense and Jalen Hurts is noticeably better. And you look at the 3 games leading into Goedert's injury. Hurts' completion percentage against Miami, Washington, and Dallas, 74%, 76%, and 74%. Without Dallas Goedert in the lineup, Hurts doesn't have that security blanket. He doesn't have that check down. He doesn't have that easy throw to the exterior where you get some blockers out in front and Dallas Goedert's able to rumble for a first down, which is an easy play call, an easy throw, an easy completion, and a stress-free first down. Against Kansas City, Buffalo, and the Niners, Hurts' completion percentage has gone down dramatically, 10-plus percentage points in each of these games. Kansas City, 63.6. Buffalo, 58%. Against the Niners, 57.7. So getting Goedert back, I think, is really going to be able to help this team. And then lastly, if you're watching our live show, this goes back to the super chat that Dro sent in. The Eagles need to find success in running the football. Now, there were 2 fans on Wednesday outside of the NovaCare complex as Eagles players and coaches pulled into the facility who were holding up a sign for everybody to see, "Run the damn ball." Now, contrary to what they believe, the Eagles have actually run the football a lot this year. They just haven't been successful in running the football. And there are a couple of things that factor into this. Point number 1, the RPO game is not the same in 2023 as it was in 2022. And Jalen Hurts' injury has really hurt the running game because teams don't think that Hurts is a threat to pull it down, read that edge, and be able to get to the edge. Now, the quarterback draws have been good, but that's kind of a simple little run where Hurts doesn't have to cut. He doesn't need to get that speed to get out to the edge, takes that 1 step back, and then he runs forward, has some blockers in front of him, clear sight line in between the tackles. But the RPO game has just diminished for this Eagles offense because they're not running a lot of runs to Jalen Hurts. What's also of note here, you think about this Eagles offensive line, and last year, they were the best offensive line in football. Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Jason Kelsey, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson. We talked about how the Eagles struggled to run the football successfully without Cam Jurgens. Now, he's been back over the last couple of games. They still can't run the football. Of note here, the Eagles have 200 yards less of yards before contact this year when running the football as compared to last year. It's pretty noticeable. So what that means is the Eagles offensive line isn't winning. They're not dominating like they were a year ago. In fact, they're kind of getting pushed around a little bit more. And everybody's saying Eagles need to run the football more. They need to run the football more. Look, Philadelphia is actually the 5th most run-heavy team in the National Football League. But they just need to do a better job of blocking up front. They need to find out ways to be successful with Jalen Hurts not running the football. I suggest a little bit more out of the pistol with the back behind Jalen Hurts. You can run play action off of that. It gives a different look to the opposing defense where they're not sure what you're going to do. And for DeAndre Swift, yes, what he did after not playing at all against New England was impressive. And I think that he's had a really good year this year. He's an explosive back. You want the Eagles to run him a little bit more? He's 9th in the NFL in carries this year. This is more of a byproduct of the Eagles not winning at the line of scrimmage, offensive line not being as good, the RPO game is diminished. Jalen Hurts' inability to run the football has really affected the Eagles' success rate in running the football. And I think there's a lack of evolving and there's a lack of creativity in the run game from Nick Sirianni, because this is his offense, as well as Brian Johnson. We round out our preview by asking you this: who you got in this game, Sunday Night Football? Do the Birds win and pull out the upset? Or do the Cowboys get their revenge from that Week 9 loss? You let me know. I'm going with the Eagles to win this one in a crazy one, 35-32.